My May TBR read was Limelight by Andrew Keenan-Bolger, and I finished it. This is going to be my spoiler-free review of the book. Although if you just want like a base idea of what it is and then nothing from there, I will say it is a kind of a romance book, but also just like a YA novel about theater kids. So if you want nothing more to go off of rather than that, click off now, but this is going to be my opinion without like spoiling major plot points. I also have a reading vlog that's largely of me reading this that will be going up either tomorrow or the day after, so keep an eye out for that as well. I gave Limelight 3 stars on Goodreads, and I would consider it a low 3 stars. The main issue is with the book's pacing. The majority of the book, it feels like nothing happens, and even when things do happen, they aren't particularly groundbreaking or interesting. It feels like a whole lot of nothing until like the last 50 pages when everything happens all at once, and then it feels really rushed in the ending. So yeah, the book has a big pacing issue, and because the majority of the book was so slow, it was a struggle to get through this book. I flew through the last like 50 pages because things were finally happening, but there were like 300 pages prior to that where not a lot was going on. There are also fantastical and supernatural elements that come up kind of sparingly but don't really get explained and don't make a whole lot of sense. I don't need like a end of Carmilla explaining in depth how things work, but a little bit more to go off of than just, oh, this fantastical thing is happening now in this otherwise realistic book. It was a bit abrupt and strange, and it happened a few times. There's a few Chekhov's guns in this book, but they don't go off until, again, the last 50 pages. And when they do go off, it feels very abrupt because of how rushed the ending felt. This is definitely by a theater kid. It was made by the guy who played Crutchie in the pro shot of Newsies. Definitely by a theater kid for theater kids, and it's good at being that, although a lot of the book really just feels like Andrew wanted to talk about how much he loves Pippin. You get like a blank slate character, so the audience and the main character learn about a lot of theater-y things, which can be frustrating to somebody like me who already knows most of this stuff, but I get why it's there. I wouldn't count it against the book. Heavy themes of internalized homophobia, which I think were handled well and were handled with a lot more honesty than I've seen in a lot of other pieces of media. So in that regard, I think the book is pretty good. I just wish it overall was better. Like, there are elements to it that are good and that I like, but overall it's just a very mediocre story. A lot of the side characters are also not super fleshed out. One in particular kind of feels like it's mocking non-binary people. The character canonically is a girl, but like she has a buzz cut and she chooses a different name, and it's a very non-binary sounding name. And that character felt like it was mocking genderqueer people a little bit, which is weird because there's also another character who is actually genderqueer and who is represented well. So it's just this weird, I didn't love that. I doubt that was the intention. I can't imagine Andrew Keenan-Bolger of all people being like, fuck non-binary people, but it kind of felt like he was going, hey, fuck non-binary people. It's also a book about New York that doesn't explain New York enough to somebody who doesn't live in New York to understand all of it. Which again, you have this blank slate character, so you can get away with over-explaining certain things, but sometimes I would just be like, wait, where are we now? Because I don't live in New York, I live in Florida. Yeah, overall, 3-star book. Can't say I recommend it necessarily. It's definitely not my cup of tea, really, but it was okay, and I'm glad I read it, if for no other reason than to satisfy my curiosity about it. If you liked this video, subscribe, like, do all this stuff, and I will see you whenever I see you again. Goodbye.